Third person. Interior house, stairwell, day. About 11 a.m. Sunday morning. Quiet suburban house. Mark, taller than average, slim, 30s, sleepy, walks downstairs in his boxer shorts. Fade into ECU Mark's yawning, silent scream, mouth. 2. Mark looks tired, turns towards kitchen, pushes door open. Over the shoulder, camera follows Mark close. Through the kitchen doorway, rear of a woman, Sophie, shorter than average, late 20s, unkempt hair, no makeup, wearing massive t-shirt and spreading jam on toast. There is a steaming pot of coffee on the cooker. Sophie in the far corner with earphones in, slightly dancing, and a knife in her hand. Quick Z-eye focus pull to Sophie before Mark registers her presence. Interior house, kitchen, day. Mark loudly screams with fear, shock, slightly jumps back. Sophie turns quickly, loudly screams with fear, shock, slightly jumps back to the side. The screams soften and slowly come to an end, with Mark and Sophie staring at each other. They simultaneously look each other up and down.
Sorry.
Mark reaches for t-shirt and tracksuit bottoms near his right hand on clothes dryer without taking his eyes off Sophie, while cringing and twisting away from her at his hips.
No, I shouldn't have said no. I mean, I should have made a noise or something. No! Not noise. Something.
I'm...
Mark.
How did you know? Of course, you're Morgan's friend.
Yeah.
New friend. I know your name.
Well, 6 weeks, long time. You're travelling, talking, walking, talking. Waiting for buses and planes.
Sophie turns back to finish putting jam on the toast. As she begins to pour coffee into one of 2 waiting mugs, she speaks.
Like some coffee? It's hot and fresh.
Sophie turns back to pour coffee. There is a brief but noticeable silence.
Coffee.
Morgan in bed?
No, out. Church.
Morgan is an atheist.
Yes, I know. So am I. I meant church supermarket, Morgan. They do great croissants on Sunday mornings. Hope you don't mind your coffee, your bread, your jam. I mean, everything here is yours, isn't it? I'll pour your coffee anyway. Can always make more when Morgan gets back. Have some toast while you're here waiting.
Yes, you're right.
Sophie looks at Mark, pauses, then places toast and 2 mugs of coffee on a white melanin table between them in the middle of the kitchen. Sophie takes a seat, looks up at Mark and smiles, pleading, embarrassed. And Sophie eats. Mark stares at the toast on the table.
It was chaos at the airport last night. Plane was late. No baggage handlers. Then the night bus was packed. And there was a fight upstairs. Scary stuff. You didn't get in until 2 a.m. I hope you didn't want to wake you, Morgan. Said you're a heavy sleeper.
It was 3:10 and no, you didn't wake me.
Sophie and Mark stare at each other. After a few seconds, Sophie gets up from her chair and returns to the food preparation area.
Why is Morgan taking so long? More coffee, Mark? Oh, yes. You haven't started, never mind.
Sophie's telephone rings before Mark can answer. Sophie grabs her telephone, pulls out the earphone cable, does not check to see who calls.
Morgan, where are you? Oh, hi, Mum. I thought you were Morgan, yes. Yeah, no problem, everything's okay. We will arrive about 6 at the coach station. No, you don't have to. That's really kind, Mum. Are you sure, Dad? Won't mind. I can't wait for you to meet Morgan. Don't be silly. My room is big enough for two. See ya. Love ya.
Sophie puts the telephone down, smiles to herself, then towards Mark.
That was mine, Mum.
Really?
Awkward silence. Mark stares at the floor.
Mum's love, Morgan.
Your mum.
Adored, Morgan. Adored. Adores.
I feel I should say sorry. She must have been upset.
She doesn't know.
Awkward silence. Mark now lifts his head to look directly and accusingly at a guilty-looking Sophie.
She sees Morgan's pictures of pretty Peru, beautiful Bolivia, charming Chile, and voluptuous Venezuela. All scenic. The occasional selfie of Morgan leaning backwards as a waterfall cascades behind, kissing a peasant's donkey on the cheek. It's all blue skies and smiling eyes. My mum likes, I despise. I haven't told her yet. I thought it might be over by now. I waited for another PM from Morgan.
Brief pause.
What time are you leaving?
The coach is at 4. So I guess about 3.
Good.
There is silence, broken by the sound of a key in a lock of the front door. Footsteps, sounds of plastic bags. Front door shuts gently. Interior house, stairwell, day. Medium close-up. Morgan from behind looking into kitchen. Can see rear of Mark's head. Sophie's face fluctuating between worry, relief and pleasure.
Hey, you both up. That's great. And you're getting to know each other. Cool. Family time.
Interior house, kitchen, day. Morgan passes the table with heavy plastic bags from Church's supermarket and puts them up on the kitchen worktop. Morgan, late 20s to early 30s, average height, androgynous in body and face, talks rapidly. Unpacking.
Supermarket was having, and the croissant were late. Had to wait. Smell of fresh bread was amazing. Checkout was a nightmare. I got lots of stuff. I thought, well, why not? There is a whole week in front of us. Marky. It's so good to see you. Hug?
You're not staying then?
Morgan's arms drop. The tone changes to more serious.
Just a couple of days with Sophie's parents, an intro. I've never been in Hastings.
There are cliffs by the sea. Be careful where you walk.
Getting up from the table. I'm getting dressed. Leave you two to talk.
Stay. You don't have to go.
Go. You don't have to stay.
The croissants are still warm. Okay, maybe better to go. Have a shower if you want. Croissant will keep.
Sophie leaves and closes the door, the sound of footsteps hurrying upstairs. Morgan walks over to the kitchen window, looks into the garden, speaks without turning.
I love this garden. There's been some fun days, romantic nights.
How could you?
Morgan looks towards Mark but remains by the window.
I tried to explain.
How could you dump me on social media?
They were PMs. Nobody saw them except you and me.
And Sophie.
No, just you and me.
Why did you have to bring her here?
I told you in a PM, stay for one night, go to Hastings, meet the old folks. You seemed cool with everything.
Well, I'm not cool with anything.
Morgan sits at the table where Sophie had sat. As Morgan sits, Mark stands up and backs away one step.
I thought it was one of those holiday flings. I thought it would be over by now. Why is she here today? Why? Why? Why did you bring her? You should have said goodbye when you had the chance.
Morgan's chin drops.
Sorry. So sorry.
Mark moves towards the kitchen door, opens it, turns his head to speak.
You shouldn't have brought her here. It was a mistake. I am not going to be the third person here.
The kitchen door closes as Mark leaves, and the sound of his footsteps ascending and disappearing upstairs are heard. Morgan looks up from the table to the kitchen door directly in front. There's an alarmed expression on Morgan's face. Zoom into Morgan's face eyes. Interior house, bathroom, day. Close up. Head and shoulders of Sophie, looking surprised then scared, then mouth opening as camera moves into mouth for silent scream. Reverse of the opening shot.